All right, welcome back to Off the Tap. This week is episode 90, and we're doing Made in the Shade from Lucky 19 Brewing Company.
It was the 90s.
It was. We are in
Bro,
the 90s now.
that is one of my favorite as of late. Like, there's obviously a lot of different influencers or TikTokers or Instagrammers use that. It was the 90s.
Yeah.
And you always know it's going to be good because they're always going to spill some knowledge on you that you were fucking unaware of in the 90s.
Always unaware of. Well, I mean, what? How
I
you?
don't want to say you were aware of, but like you weren't aware of it. Like you were aware of it,
Yeah.
but you're like, oh, it makes a lot more sense now.
And
You know
now
what
that
I
I'm
mean?
older and can process things.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
So this is a lemon shandy coming in at 5.0% ABV and 15 IBUs.
So aren't shandies usually heavier than that, or not IBU wise, but percentage
ABV
alcohol?
wise? I don't know. That's something we should have looked up, like we always forget to do.
I can for sure. We're gonna give her a little pour here. She looks and smells like a shandy. Surprise,
Ooh,
surprise.
good to know. I've been getting a whiff out
It's
of
kind of
like
hazy.
from a distance. I haven't really gone in to sniff yet, you know.
So they use real lemon. No spoiler there.
Mm,
Or I guess no surprise there. Spoiler alert.
yeah,
Um, when life gives you lemons,
all
brew it.
natural.
It doesn't say that, but it should. You can have that one. You can have that one, Lucky 19.
Just brew it.
Just brew it. Dude,
That
it is lemon intense.
that should be someone's slogan, regardless.
Yeah.
Just brew it, and they could get Shia
Life,
LaBeouf to do the thing for them.
dude, life's a beer, just brew it. You
Just
know?
brew it.
And there's a lot of underlying messages there that can be
Mm.
delivered. All right, so we got 15 IB. I'm going to tell you a story about lemon that I just thought of that came to mind because it just recently happened to me. By recent, I mean yesterday, and it was
Uh-oh.
life changing, and it's all right, decent story. But
Uh-oh.
so I mean, it's not really a good story. I'm gonna try to make it a good. Fuck it, you guys can determine if it's a good story. Okay, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Have you? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god. Okay, so I mean, most people are gonna get it from the meme because it's been clipped like a million times. But apparently, at some point, there was a newscaster that, like, I guess the teleprompter was screwing up.
Mhm.
And he was like struggling with it.
Oh,
And he was like,
yes, I have
"We're doing it live. We'll
I
do
have
it live."
I have seen that. Yeah.
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 Okay. So because I stuttered over my story being good, bad, indifferent, you guys can determine. We're gonna do it live. But 15 IBUs, 5%. She's a shandy, real lemon.
Mhm.
Smells very lemony. I'm gonna give her a little. Did you give her a little tasty taste?
No, not yet. I wanted to say before I tasted it that just by the look of this can, I can tell you already what my WWYBD is going to be. I'm not going to do it
Okay.
until later, but just from the look
See,
of the
I think.
can.
Okay, so yeah, don't tell me. But I think here's the problem. And we're gonna get into this, but when I think shandy, I think summer. And so
Yeah.
I can't ever put like it's kind of like I guess we've talked about this multiple times too, but it's like nobody's just like, oh, it's Easter, we should bake a turkey.
Uh-huh.
Like fucking no, you don't do that. Like,
Right.
ooh, we should have dressing on 4th of July. No, that you don't do that.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that shandies have their place, and it's just in the summer, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of the time they're summer shandies, right?
That's what I'm saying. So like, it's hard for me to be like, oh, I would be resort skiing with a shandy. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen.
Hey, man, if it was during the summer, you know?
I mean, can you resort ski in the summer? Even
Yeah, sure.
Minnesota gets reprieve. I don't think they have snow up
Minnesota.
there. Maybe I don't even think Alaska doesn't even have reprieve from. I mean, have snow in the summer.
No, up on the mountains they have snow still. It melts on the flat land out here, but up on the mountains there's still snow. At least, you know, I've never been snowboarding or skiing, so I'm just guessing right off the top of my ass, but
Um, Yeah, I mean, so oh wait, okay, so again, I'm not saying that my WWYBD for sure is gonna be summer related, but like it's just very hard, regardless of what the can looks like. Um, thanks for lucky. I think Lucky 19 settling into some universal branding. We love that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so I'm not saying that it's going to be something that only can happen in the summer, but it's probably going to be summer driven. It hasn't come to me yet, which is a little bit of a shock this early on.
Mm. Yeah, it is a little bit of a shock to me. I feel like normally you're pretty much first taste and you know.
Oh yeah, sometimes even when I sniff the can. Good news is on this one, I'm not running into any metallic. What do you mean? Not the outside of the fucking can. I mean like when you pop it.
Oh, okay.
I can't just sniff the print and be like, "Oh, I know what I'm doing when I drink
Ah,
this."
no, it's just because I think one time a few episodes ago you were talking about smelling the bottom of the can or something. I don't remember exactly what was going on there, but
Okay, well, this time I'm talking about the hole that you pour it out of.
okay. You got to
And
sniff the hole.
it smells, oh yeah, dude, I just stuck the end of my nose right into it.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't get a lot of, I'm not getting a lot of lemon. Are you getting very much lemon? I
No, it's
smell more of it than I'm getting.
yeah, I smell a lot more. It almost smells like legit lemonade. But then you
Yes,
drink it and it's not at all
not very much
lemonade.
lemon at all. Should
Yeah.
we have shaken the can?
Oh no, don't shake before you stir, brother.
Well, I mean, actually, they tell you to gently roll it. You know, the ones that have the sediment that
Mm.
were like, here's okay. Let's talk about this for a
Well,
second.
here's the thing though, is I'm sucking from the bottom right now. You know what I mean?
Ah,
So
you
I
little
and it
bottom sucker, huh?
yeah,
Okay.
and so it's I'm still not getting a lot of lemon in that case.
Okay, so even if we haven't and there's no way that your cans were agitated that drastically just by happenstance. Like not
No.
organically did they get shaken up enough.
No, no. Definitely not.
Because that was a good burp. Because there are some I've had some sometimes usually they're in bottles. Honestly, and I think it's just because you can't see that shit in the can, so nobody tells you. Like sometimes there's bottles they release and they're usually seasonals, and they're like, you gotta make sure to roll it first. And I'm like,
Mm.
yeah, listen, I don't work here, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to.
Listen, I'm not
You should
clocking
have,
in to drink a beer. I'm clocking out to drink a beer. That's what I'm
right? You
doing.
should have finished that shit at the plant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the brewery. Um, so I don't get that vibe from it, but it smells a lot more lemony straight from the hole than it does
Hmm.
coming out of the glass. But it does have a pretty color, and it does give me the hey, they probably used some real lemons.
Oh yeah.
Life gave them lemons, they brewed it.
It smells like real lemon for sure.
Actually, you know what? The hole brings me back to my story.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So it smells like lemon zest. Here's what went down yesterday.
Mm.
All right. So obviously you're aware, and I hope no one's impacted by this, but like everything around us is flooding. So
Yeah.
there's like nothing to do. And I'm selfish in regard. Like obviously our house was fine. Nothing we didn't even lose power. Like we didn't really suffer from that. Like the two things that I could bitch about was like, hey, the lakes are closed, so I can't go fishing. And also there's nothing to do because it's just been raining. Okay, so these are like
Yeah.
straight up first world bitching problems. But I
Yeah.
decided that I was gonna make some beer bread because I love beer bread. This happened by happenstance. So I make some beer bread, right? And for my beer bread, no cap, as the youth would say, on any other beers. But I want one of two things. I want it to always be a Miller Lite, because to me, that's fucking a loaf of bread in a can anyway.
Yeah.
I either want it to always be a Miller Lite that goes into my beer bread, or I want it to be just the raunchiest shit that you like, just the quadruple black IPA,
Yeah.
just rowdy as shit. Like something that you really like is definitely a fridge sitter. Okay, beer breads are for
Yeah.
fridge sitters. All right. Okay,
Yeah.
we should get some merch.
Oh my
That
gosh,
says
that's a good one. That's
beer
good.
breads. Beer breads
This
for
is
fridge
not only a
sitters.
fridge sitter, this is a beer bread sitter.
Yeah. So there's another hell depth of hell, and that's
Yeah.
beer bread. And now I've had a few beers that I don't even think that like they fuck up a beer bread. That's how rough they were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I think I've told the hop Amish story. I think, but anyway, so yesterday I make some beer bread, okay, and I wanted it like So I make beer. I don't. You like beer bread, right? You have beer bread before?
Oh yeah, big
Okay.
fan.
Yeah. So I like beer bread too, but dude, recently when I've been making it, I call it fried beer bread, but it's not really fried. I just don't mix the butter in it. I just mix my dough and I put it in, and then I take the butter and I dump it on top. So when you throw it in the oven, it kind of fries the outside of it,
Ooh,
and it's crispy, like those. It's crispy like a fresh fried cake donut, but in the inside it tastes like beer. All
ooh,
right, and it's
ooh.
delicious. Okay, that's one thing. So it's got a thick fried crust because it's basically been basted in butter for the whole hour. All right, that's number one. Number two is so I make the bread, I let it cool, and it's on this cutting board cooling. And Katie goes to make some tea, so she makes her glass of tea. Well, she takes a lemon with the same knife that I was cutting the bread with, and
Yeah.
cuts her lemon up and
Ooh.
puts the lemon in her tea. So when I came back, like right afterwards, like 2 minutes later, I just picked up the knife and cut the bread. And so I drug like lemon oil from the skin and
Ooh.
the juice through it. Good God, dude.
Oh.
Game changer. Imagine that crispy brown, buttered, fried beer bread, soft, moist on the inside, yeasty, and
Mm.
then fucking lemon. It was like a grown man's pound cake, is what it was.
Oh
You know what I
yes.
mean? It was just so good.
Yeah.
Like I told her, I think the lemon
Oh
almost made it
man.
more of a dessert. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, beer bread's a little sweet anyway, but it's not like really a dessert. It could still be a savory thing. You know what I
It's
mean?
not like banana bread. Yeah.
No. So then, all right. So then that was round two, right? I fried the outside, which I've been doing, but I fried the outside with the butter. Then number two, which I highly recommend, because beer bread's really just a short bread that's dumped, a dump short bread, right? It's kind of like a dump
Mm.
cake. But anyway, fried the outside. Then I went in with the lemon. Well, then, just curiosity gets the best of you. So I
Right.
go, I sit back down. We're watching baseball. No, at this point I was watching the Rangers game, the hockey game, and I was like, dude, you know what I bet would be slamming on this is apricot and strawberry preserves and a little bit of lemon. Fuck, dude, a thin slice. Good God.
Oh man, yes.
So I got the apricot and raspberry preserves, a little spritz of lemon. I kind of like old fashioned it so I could get a little bit of the
Oh
oil out
yeah.
onto the crispy fried thick. Dude, I should have taken a picture. Like, there's not enough words that could do it. I mean, obviously I tasted it and I could still like I could see what it looks like and based on how it went in my mouth and
Mm.
tell you what it looked like. And
We're gonna
yeah,
have
so
to
that was
recreate
yesterday.
it.
Oh yeah, and now here's the thing. It would probably be great right now. Obviously, I'd have to heat the bread up, but I mean, we're talking this bastard was just fresh out the oven. Like it had
Oh.
been sitting on this cutting board for man, maybe say 8 minutes, 9 minutes, just
Oh.
enough as a dump cake bread to firm up. Just
Yeah.
enough. It was
Man.
good. It was good. And it just happened
Ooh.
yesterday. And so when I smelled this can, I got beer, I got bread, and I got lemon.
Lemon.
The only thing that it's missing is a little bit of the old apricot raspberry preserves.
Yeah.
But
Go smear some. Hey, maybe you should mix some into the beer. See what it tastes like.
possibly, but here's the thing. I don't this beer so far, I don't get a lot of lemon. And I think we talked, did we Google this last time? We've done a shandy before, have we not?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't know. Honestly, this might be
I
our
think we
first shandy.
I think we've talked a lot about it whenever we were talking about what was the goses? The go sci?
Go sigh.
Go see? Go see. No.
Goose.
Yeah, the
We
goses.
probably talked about some shandies during some sour episodes as well.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. I think this is the first shandy. Now we've done a. I thought we had done no. I thought we had done the Line and Kugel Oktoberfest on here, but we just drank that during October. No, we
Oh
did do the Line
shoot.
and Kugel. Sorry, we did the toasted Bach though, not the Oktoberfest.
I got you. So we haven't done because that how we always talk about what is our staple beer? Like what is our staple? Every beer like when fuck hold on when we drink a Bock we're comparing it to Shiner Bock. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah,
When
in
I
our
drink
case,
a pil-
yes.
Correct. When I drink a Pilsner, I'm comparing it to a Carlsberg,
Right.
when I drink a what's another one? When I'm drinking a Ghost, I'm probably comparing it to anything that except for what we've tried on here Ghost wise.
Yeah.
It's just a callback to the fact that we haven't been very successful. We're batting like
Well,
negative 1,000 with that. But
the Purple Passion wasn't bad. The Purple Passion was not
so
bad.
that so I think for a shandy, like a liney is what a shandy is. Like I think they just maybe not
Yeah.
modernize it, but commercialize it. They're the ones that made it popular.
Yeah.
But
It's the
technically,
commercials. It's the commercials, right?
I don't think I've ever seen the commercials. What do you mean the commercials?
You never seen the Leinenkugel commercials? Where the people are
For a
like out on
shandy?
where people are like out on the boat and stuff? And then
I mean,
Leinenkugel just
it's
like draws across the screen.
maybe because it's like written in cursive, right? And it's got
Yeah.
like flowers around it. Okay, yes, but I don't like what's the context of the boat? Is it like funny or is it a realistic scene?
Like fun.
Okay, not funny, but fun.
No, not funny, but like doing riding around on the boat type
I
thing.
got you. Also, isn't Leinenkugel from Wisconsin?
Wisconsin?
I think it
Somewhere
is.
near a mansion?
Up there in Wisconsin? Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't
how much
know. I
snow
don't
do
know
they
where they're
have?
from. I gotta
I'm
believe
pretty
it's
I'm
maybe like a month and a half.
I'm pretty sure it's in Wisconsin. But so technically a shandy is a beer cocktail. Usually it's a cocktail and it's actually, it's kind of like what's something now that we get? Oh, like okay, for instance, vodka sodas have been around for a hot minute, but
Oh yeah.
now they're just being mass produced as seltzers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
with the malt liquor, which
well, I mean, there's some of them that have vodka,
yeah, well,
right?
there's a few that have
Yeah.
real vodka, but
But I think so. Shandies are the same way, right? A shandy. I don't know as much about a shandy as I do other beers, but shandy's a beer cocktail usually made of equal parts beer and citrusy lemon lime soda. Popular
hmm.
British pub drink. A shandy can be easily customized with the beer and soda of your choice. Although, if you want a traditional British shandy, you'll stick to the 50-50 beer and soda mix. So you're basically taking a beer and mixing it with a Sprite. I mean,
Hey,
by
hey,
definition,
that's delicious.
bro. Honestly, it is. I'm thinking. And hear me out because we give away all our good ideas.
That's kind of the
Nothing again.
most Midwest thing of all time.
It kind of is because I bet you it was this. They were like, we've got all these Bush Lights, but we've also got all these Mountain Dews. And they
Yeah.
just fucking mixed them
Yeah.
together. And they
Yeah.
were like, that is shady. And the guy was like, did you say Shandy?
Shandy? Yeah.
In yeah. That's probably how it went down, Midwest. Thank you. But Lucky Lucky Brewing 19. So it's good, okay? But hear me out, okay? What if, all right, we were to take some type of grapefruit Topo Chico, the best of all the Topo Chicos in my IMO, okay?
Okay.
Take that bad boy and on site, not that I don't like the Made in the Shade, but mix it on site with one of the other bangers that you got on draft.
Mm,
But it'd be available only at the brewery. So
mm.
grapefruit Topo Chico Shandy, um, with the American lager or something like that.
Now that could be spicy. That could
It
be
could.
good. That could be something.
And it could.
And you know what? I think now that we're figuring out exactly what a shandy is, I think a lot
Mhm.
of breweries should do that. I think they should figure
Dude,
out what a good mixture of it is. You know, like what a good mixture beer and soda wise that there is.
so the other thing is too,
Mm.
I've never had a straight up shan. Like I've never gone into okay. So like when you go into a bar, many times I've said, can I, before the whole craze of seltzers, I've been like, hey, can I get a vodka soda with a little bit of like grenadine or vodka soda
Yeah.
with raspberry or something. I've done that. And like, I've had other cocktails. Obviously, most other liquor based cocktails are being mixed. But I don't think I've ever just been in and been like, hey, can I have a shandy? And they were like, we don't have one. And I was like, I'll make one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever.
Well, I mean, I just quite literally learned what it is, so I
Me
wouldn't.
too. Sometimes.
I would have never been like, we'll just make one. Also, I feel like if you said that in a bar in Texas, they would go, "What?"
Yeah,
If you were in Wisconsin now,
up there in the mansion.
yeah, when you're
Yeah,
going out
it's not as
leaving,
good the second time.
yeah, leaving a mansion somewhere out there, like if you said it out there, I bet they'd be like, "Oh, I got you."
I'm gonna have to read a little bit further into this because like I just looked at a recipe for this and it was like I don't know. Have you ever read recipes online? I don't know how frequently you do that.
Not
Probably not
very
all that much.
often, but sometimes.
Okay, so it'll say like active time. It'll be like total prep time, and then it'll be like
Yeah,
cook time, and it'll say total time. All right. Well, the active time on this is 5 minutes. Makes sense. You're just mixing things together. That makes sense, right?
it seems like it should
That's
be
the act.
way shorter.
I agree, but you know what the total time is?
You know how long it would take me to mix half a beer and half a soda?
Mine's about to be blown. Okay. Active time, 5 minutes. So you're mixing for 5 minutes. What is
Okay,
the total time do you think it is from start to finish of making this recipe?
8 minutes.
2 hours and 30 minutes. So I got to fucking read further on why that is. And then as I got down here, yeah, I was blown away. I was like, Jesus Christ. No wonder nobody's buying it at a bar.
Yeah.
But that's because
Sir,
apparently they want you to.
I'll be here tomorrow around 5:30 if you could have some shandies ready for me.
Dude, it was the OG order before you show up.
Yeah.
And it was just people getting shandies. But
Call in an order.
uh, actually, it turns out it's because they want you to make the lemonade. So 1 cup of sugar, 4 wide strips lemon zest, 2 sprigs of mint, 1 cup fresh lemon juice, a chilled beer such as pale ale for serving, lemon slices for garnish. You're gonna mix all that shit up and you're gonna let it sit for a hot minute.
Mm.
Actually, a cold minute because it is chilled, and then you're gonna mix it with the beer.
For a cool 2 hours. So you're going to let that
Right?
sit.
You're gonna let it sit for a cool 120 minutes, and then after that,
After
you're
that,
gonna
you'll
mix it with your.
enjoy incredible shandies for about an
So,
hour.
um, I don't know. I'm here for the shandy, but it does scream summertime to me. We've talked about this exhaustively. It's because of the citrus. It's crazy now that I didn't realize that it was a blended thing and not just a beer. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that is
think
pretty
we.
interesting to know.
Excuse me. We talk about this a lot too. Shandies are like the gateway. Like for all right, you know how there's those people that are just like hardcore beer drinkers that don't drink anything else. I'm kind of one of those people.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are like, ugh, I don't do beer, and so you always gotta have something else. Fucking
Mm.
wine, wine coolers. What is it, the 80s? But like you gotta have like wine coolers,
Seltzers.
seltzers, right, shit like that. But I feel like you could get away with like a bunch of people staying at an Airbnb and only bringing shandies. Like I think you're gonna keep
Mm.
everybody pacified. Does that make sense?
I feel like if you're with a group of people and and one of them won't drink a single shandy, I feel like maybe you've chosen the wrong group of people to hang out with. You know,
Yeah.
either too picky or horrible taste, essentially.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, you don't need them around anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'll be the last time that I mean, not that you like. It's not like a Lois situation. It's not so much that I want to kill her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like you want them to not be alive. But as far as showing back up to the Airbnb next time or
Yeah.
next
No.
go around with the pod,
Hey
that's
man.
not gonna happen.
Hey man, we're gonna go eat dinner. I think it's best if you Uber home afterwards. We're gonna go back to the house and drink some shandies. That's what we're gonna
It's
do. So
it's basically you're gonna have like a serious sit down conversation, kind of like after the second practice when Benny the Jet Rodriguez came to Smalls and was like, "Hey man, you got a fireplace?"
yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, why?" And he's like, "Throw that hat in there, man.
Yeah.
You can wear my hat." That's kind of
Yeah.
somebody who's gonna turn down a shandy. That's kind of the conversation you're gonna need to pull them aside to have with him.
Yeah. You're gonna need a real friend in that moment.
So, speaking of shandies, speaking of summertime, what to you are activities that can only occur that I guess are best placed during the summer? And I'm going to give you an
Mm.
example of something I first thought of that doesn't count. So I'm going to give you an example that's a bad example.
Okay.
Like for summer, I mean, I think of, and this is why it's a bad example. Some people in the late spring, early summer think fishing. And probably it's because it's summertime, kids are out of school, stuff like that. They think fishing. And to me, That's not a summer thing because you should fish year round. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's a bad example. But what is something that even if you might dabble in it during other seasons it screams summer to you.
Okay. I mean, number one I mentioned earlier is boating, of course. We might have talked
But
about this last summer, but I don't remember.
okay, possibly. But when you say boating, you mean like strictly recreational
Yeah,
boating, not like
recreational, like tubing
gotcha.
behind the boat, like
The
just
old weekend warrior setup that we talked about recently, maybe.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
gotcha.
Yeah. Uh, like straight up recreate jet ski, you know, not like boating out there to go fishing or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, Also, man, I know it's like you got spring training and whatnot, but baseball for me is summer.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Um, I mean, obviously, maybe not so much this year, but going into that summer stretch, I usually have this like hell yeah, like we're about to
Yeah,
we're about to take where we're at to the next level. And this year,
yeah,
I'm thinking we got to fucking flip over another rock. Like we got to find something else,
yeah.
something that works here. I mean, I think it's too far gone, but we don't have the time to discuss that today. I digress. But
I
you're
don't think
right.
we'll ever have time to discuss that this year, brother.
There's a certain like I don't want to say comfort, but there's like a let's take this to the next level that usually happens in baseball season come summer. And might be because I think I find it myself, I mean I watch it all the time or listen to it all the time, but I find myself watching it more intently and I think it's because of the other activities that I'm doing.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because like right now, I catch late night games, but then we got to deal with the kids, or like if I'm cooking on the weekends, obviously that's when it's happening. But like, and I'll watch them during day games or whatever if I've the TV in the office or whatever. But during the summer, it's like, yeah, okay, so we're playing somebody on the West Coast, and I
mm,
know the game doesn't start till 9:15, but like I'm still gonna watch it because it's daylight until 9, and screw it.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. It's just like I think also the All Star break, right? The All Star break
Mhm.
falls in July, so it's kind of like it's that like midpoint of the baseball season, and so we're just kind of like chilling, vibing out, and you get to watch the All Star game also, all the
Well,
best players in the game playing against you, and it should be said that of all of the like All Star, Pro Bowl, you know, games of every sport, baseball is by far the best because nobody's not trying.
yes, now I've always
Well,
yes, I think
football
we've
used to
talked.
be awesome. So did
That's what I was gonna
basketball,
say. I was gonna
but
say, I
lately,
think, yeah, it needs to be after, okay? After the big blowout. Ooh, ooh,
no,
big summer blowout. No, it needs to
big
be
summer
after
blowout.
it needs to be after the season. Like it needs to be either be mid-season. I don't know. Football's just a whole different
Well,
ballgame
the
because
Pro
even if you
Bowl
put it all,
is
what do you mean?
the Pro Bowl is after the regular season.
I know, and I actually think that that's better because, like, I don't know if in football if you could just throw it in like week 7.
No,
You know what I mean?
no, yeah, we absolutely should not be doing that. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Uh,
Um,
but
but they
yeah,
should put something a little more on the line. You know what I mean? Like everybody in the
yes,
AFC gets a fucking first rounder over everybody in the NFC just based on the Pro Bowl turnout. Bruh,
dude,
people
make it.
showing
I
up.
mean, I get you can't really do it with football, I guess, for like the Super Bowl, but
Mhm.
I don't know if baseball still does it. But for the longest time, it would determine who got home field advantage in the World Series.
Oh, that's not like that now, but yeah, that's cool.
That's what it should be
But
like. I
that
feel like.
I agree.
I think that's how it should be like for basketball. I think if there's a way they could do that for football, it should be like that. Although the thing about the Pro Bowl in football is everybody that's going to be in the Super Bowl is not playing in the Pro Bowl. So all their enemies could kind of like go against them. You know what I mean? All their like
Oh, I see what
NFC
you mean. Yeah.
rivals, would be like, oh, well,
No,
let's
that's
let,
that. That's what I'm saying. The Pro Bowl is after the season, but it's before the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Yeah, no, you got to put it after the Super Bowl.
Mm. So it would roll over to next year. Whoever won would
Yes,
host one
would
of those
host
stadiums.
next
Yeah.
year, and you could have people from that Super Bowl team play actually actively. And third, let's be honest, dude. We went from how many games a season? I back in the gap. They went from like 10, 8, I think, to like
Yeah.
12, to like 16, to like 18, whatever it is now. The volume of people that would watch a Pro Bowl a month after the fucking Super Bowl would be basically the audience of the Super Bowl because
Yeah.
everybody's still yearning for that last little stretch of. I mean, dude, no offense to hockey, but I'm pretty sure that right now, because it's just placed very uniquely. Okay,
Yeah.
football is over, hasn't quite started yet. Baseball's in that I'm gonna call it less than stellar. Like you've either gotten off to a really good start, or we're starting to fall into that early summer stagnant. Like let's
Yeah.
take a break and relax. Okay, like the whole month of June's not going to kill you in baseball. May more so than anything, but fuck it, June too. The whole
Yeah.
June's not going to kill you one way or the other. You're either already set up for success or you ain't gonna make it back, kind of situation.
Right.
And basketball, I believe, is already kind of on the outs, right?
Well,
I
we're
mean,
in the
they're
playoffs.
in the
Yeah.
playoffs. Yeah, okay, so
Basketball is pretty aligned with hockey.
it is, but like I just feel like the folks, I don't know, man. I just don't feel like people that watch football dabble in baseball. People that watch baseball dabble in football.
Yeah.
He just feel like there's not a hockey player out there right now going, damn it, I can't watch the Rangers and the fucking Cavaliers the same day. I just don't think that's
Yeah.
happening. It might be. You know, the betting world obviously is going to struggle
Maybe.
with that, but they love this time of year.
Maybe so. But yeah, so baseball is definitely to me like also is because I, growing up like in little league especially, you do like your summer baseball, but then All-Stars was during the summer. So that's when I would get to do like cuz I didn't get to play travel ball cuz it's freaking ridiculously expensive. And so I'm playing All-Stars, from the middle of May until the beginning of July every
You know,
year.
it's so you know what's so funny about this? I don't correlate playing baseball in the summer. I want you to do the math on that. If you correlate all stars with the summer, I do not correlate all stars with the summer.
Yeah.
And that's because, well,
Well,
yeah,
that's just for me. That's
yeah,
why it's such
well,
a summer
not for
thing for
me.
me. Well,
I was like, fucking hey, baseball's over. See you next year, guys. And I was like, wait,
damn.
what do you mean you guys are playing over the summer? What? How? Oh,
How did you guys get there? That's not fair.
wait a tick. But yeah.
Yeah.
So summer all-star baseball, and then obviously watching baseball now. Give me one more, because there's got to be one more or
Mm.
two more things.
You know what? Like weirdly enough, and this is just because I feel like maybe it's because like you were saying earlier, like the kids are all out of school, right? Maybe it's just because I was out of school. Um, but horseshoes, dude.
Okay.
I swear I would only ever play horseshoes during the summer. And I vividly remember our neighbors would set it up all the time from when I was like 8 until I was like 15. Every summer for events that they did over there, they would have horseshoes and we'd go over there and freaking ring it up, dude. Me and my dad would go over there and wreck shop. Absolutely run it down. It'd be like me and him playing duos in pool, bro. No one stood a chance.
So I hear you loud and clear on that, and I do associate that with the summer because, I think it's because the wet around here. Not that it ever really gets cold, but
No.
the weather's good, and like we just say fuck it anyway. Like it'll be 115 degrees, and we're like, oh, we're doing it outside. All right, cool. We're doing it
Yeah.
outside. All right, sweet. And
Well,
so,
it's also like horseshoes in particular. There's nothing that gets seared into your brain more than whenever you touch hot metal and it burns immediately,
oh yeah,
right? And
oh
so
yeah.
that's all I can like. That's what I remember most from playing horseshoes is you're like, oh yeah, let's go play a game, and somebody's got to bend down and get them, and who's doing it other than the youngest person there?
That is
So you're
true.
reaching over to grab the damn horseshoes, and they're on fire because they've been baking in the sun for the past 4 hours. You know.
Other things I associate with the summer is dipping your flip flops and or your feet in the water so that you can make the entire cement walk back to where you're going. Like that. That's not a oh funny thing. That's a legit concern because like
That's
I don't know if you know,
survival.
but can you imagine getting? We've all done it, right? Let's say you got a 400-yard hike and you get to like 250 yards and you're like, fuck, it's too hot.
Yeah.
You're trapped now. There's nowhere to go. You got
Yeah.
to finish. You know what I
You
mean?
gotta
You
go.
step off in
You're
the grass if you can get to the grass, but
if there's grass.
yeah. But
Yeah.
dude, nothing, and it just that your feet, everything gets warm. It's almost like it's not
Hmm.
sunburn, but it is like you've just cooked a little bit of your. It's firmer
Yeah,
and spongy.
you kind of pick up your foot and just a little bit gets stuck to the concrete, just a
Oh
little bit.
god dang, it's not that bad, um but yeah, so okay, so some yeah, I get that too. Now, I have played, you're right. When I think horseshoes, I think summer. I think washers in the summer too, more than anything. Cornhole to me is colder,
Fall.
right? Do you get that vibe? Yeah.
I get fall and like leading up to Christmas is what I get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and here's the thing, and even I would say even after Christmas too, that no man's land area, oh, that's fucking cornhole right there.
Yeah,
That
that's a good
post
point too,
Christmas,
actually.
pre New Year's. But when I think hot, I think horseshoes, I think washers, where you're just short. I mean, shirt optional, but shorts for sure, just sweating your ass
Maybe
off,
that should honestly, it's not even
standing up.
shirt suit, it's a bathing suit with no shirt on. That's what it
Yeah, that's
is.
what I meant. So a bathing suit, and you've taken your beer and you've planted it inside one of the holes, or you got it lean near the stake, and
Yeah.
you're just throwing for and
Really
everybody.
gambling with near the stake.
Oh yeah, well. I mean, obviously, when you're throwing, it's not that big of a deal,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's right. That's a good outdoor games, but
It
not all
is.
outdoor games, but those two for sure.
And you don't really see horseshoes a lot anymore. No one's really throwing horseshoes. Just like I
I
feel
think.
like it's a liability for a lot of places, right? Like
Oh yeah, you mean
breweries
like?
aren't setting up horseshoes, There's
I
some
mean, but
injuries that there's some injury risk with that one.
possibly, but like I don't remember. I mean, I've been hit by a horseshoe or two, but I don't remember it being like so god awful. I don't think it's. I mean, it's worse than a washer, I guess, or worse than a cornhole sack, but it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah. Um, you don't see it as much anymore, and I wish it would come back because I'm not nearly as good at. Not. I mean, not that it matters. I don't think you got to be good at it because I always remember having fun. To me,
Oh yeah.
horseshoes kind of like golf, dude.
Yeah,
You can be
dude.
fucking terrible and have a
It's just
blast.
so fun. There's something like listen, you're playing washers and you hole one, right? And you're like, "Oh, hell yeah, that felt good." Same with cornhole. You hole one and you're
Yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, I'm the man, bro. I'm good."
yeah.
But when you
You didn't
ring a
fucking ring it?
horseshoe,
Yeah,
ooh,
dude.
buddy, there ain't nothing like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You
or
kind of like everybody kind of looks whenever you ring one in horseshoes. You know what I mean?
bro, or the cut, like maybe it's just because of the distance, but like
Hmm.
everything, like when you cover in washers or you cover in cornhole, you're like, oh, okay, like this,
Nice.
like I needed
That's a
that, right?
wash. Yeah.
You fucking cover in horseshoes, oh god, dude,
Fuck
that cuts.
yeah.
Like
Hell
I can
yeah.
inside, I can feel right now, like I'm hitting my point, and then I get covered, and it hurts inside, like the hurt
Hmm.
inside when you get covered
Yeah.
or the joy if you're the one doing the covering is exponentially multiplied in horseshoes, and
Oh
it's got to
yeah.
be part of it's got to be the distance and part of it's got to be the difficulty, but like even leaner, like you'll play 50 games and then finally somebody will get a
Oh.
leaner and you're like, it's been a long time since I've
Yeah.
seen a leaner, and then that's when everybody's like, that's two, right? And you're like, yeah, I mean technically it
Yeah,
is,
I'm
but
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's 2 points.
it is, yeah, exactly. But it's been so long since you've seen
Yeah.
it last that you're like, I don't remember. It's ones and threes, baby. That's what we play.
Yeah.
But a
Yeah.
leaner's too, which I think is kind of a little bit bullshit. I think you should get five for a leaner because that's significantly harder than a ringer.
Leaner's the hardest thing to get, I feel like.
Yeah, the odds of a leaner are significantly lower than that of a ringer, but I
Yeah.
digress. The rules are the rules.
What you got
So
for some summer activities?
So summer activities, and this is year round for me, but for some reason, and honestly, I don't think it's from when I was a kid. I mean, we grilled and we horseshoed and we did all those things year round. We
Yeah.
boated and stuff like swam and lake time and river time. That's a big
Oh,
summer
a
thing.
river one.
River,
Yeah.
yep, a river time. But honestly, as I got older, even though it would be blazing hot, dude, just those super super hot days where you're outside and I would do fajitas a lot, or
Oh.
I would smoke something or stuff peppers or just whatever, man, just
Oh.
something on the grill. And And the grill thing, people, I try to explain this to people all the time that maybe aren't from where we're from, but like grilling's not grilling's not a hobby, it's a way of life. No, it's not that. I'm not saying that, but we kind of build our day around it. Like, dude, the if you're gonna grill on a Saturday, that means the Friday night before I'm brining something or I'm prepping something. You get up in the morning, you make a breakfast, but then you go out and you get your fire set up and it's hot as shit. And now you're nursing it. Like, obviously, then you start having you a few beers and you're using that to nurse. Like, it's like a whole thing. And you don't
Yeah.
have to, basically, the only thing you need, these are the critical things you need when you're smoking something. You need a beer, a game plan, and tunes. That's it. Honestly, the least important thing that you
The
fucking need
game
for when you're
plan?
smoking something? No, I was gonna say meat.
No.
Honestly, I feel like I just feel like if I've got a game plan and I've got tunes and beer, I could smoke
Anything.
breakfast tacos. It's fucking like
Yeah.
smoked
Hey
yogurt.
yo.
I don't
Ooh.
care.
Hey.
Smoked fruit. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a number of things. So that to me is the true summer thing. Because I don't know, man. I just feel like people make up a lot of excuse. It's hot. Don't get me wrong. But I've spent a lot of time just being super hot, sweating my ass off, cooking something near something that's, it's 115 degrees outside and you're sitting next to something that's 250 degrees.
Yeah.
Having the time of my life. Obviously, occasionally, because you got tunes going, you'll pitch a washer or two or throw a horseshoe or something. That's great.
Yeah.
But like those large family gatherings that aren't necessarily tied to a holiday, but you're just having people over. The next thing is crawfish slash shrimp. Like
Mm.
in college, it was more shrimp, I guess, but I mean, we did a lot of crawfish too, but in college, it seems like we boiled a lot of shrimp over the summer.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and we would just have massive shrimp boils because again, it's miserable, but everybody's outside. Obviously, you could drink beer, play yard games, stuff like that, but just gather around. And also, too, everybody when I was in college, there were the people that lived in town year round, and it was an opportunity for those folks to get back together. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause
Hmm.
it's not like we were going to class or studying or meeting people. I mean, some of us were, but like we weren't necessarily guaranteed or forced to see one another through like the regular structure of the year. So,
Right.
hey, we're boiling a bunch of shrimp. Y'all come over and, pill heads with us or something like that. So I don't know. That's another summertime thing for me too. Again, still miserably hot standing around a fucking boiling pot. But again, the payoff is ice cold beer and, good shrimp.
And food.
Yeah, food.
Good food. Yeah. Yeah.
Summer's a food.
I definitely see I definitely see grilling for sure. We obviously haven't done a lot of boiling here.
Yeah.
Our neighbors do sometimes, but a lot of the times for us it's the grill and going out to the farm and whatnot. Some of our family stuff, they grill a lot, and that's just what it seems like is the thing to do.
And I don't know, like I said, most of it's what is the famous Miley Cyrus? Most depends in the journey, like that kind of thing. Yeah, I think most of it's in the journey. I mean, don't get me wrong, the food's always rewarding, but I think getting there is half the reward. A couple more things that I'll mention about the shandy and or food. Number one, which I take back, even though still gives me a little bit of those vibes. I always thought that shandies were for pansies, dude. I always
Yeah.
thought that if you drink shandies, like what, you can't fucking drink real beer, or why are you drinking like it's a mixed drink, or which now I realize it is, or it's a cocktail. Obviously, I've grown up and matured. I'm not a small child anymore. Like, drink whatever you want to drink. But I just always thought that they were for like people that wanted a Smirnoff Ice, but couldn't get one, so they went for
Yeah.
the shandy beer or whatever.
They wanted a wine
Until,
cooler, but there was
yeah,
none available.
until, shout out to a very well shared contact in Padna, which we've been trying to get trying to get guest starring on the cast as well. And he's the one obviously introduced me to UFOs, which I'll never go back. He introduced me to They're like parachute type pants. They're basically like a hoodie for your bum. And which it sounds funny on paper, but dude, a crotch like that with that kind of pocket area, like a kangaroo pouch in the upper top, fucking tell me why not. So, anyways, that. And then he also was the one that was like, hey, dude, Shandy's like, you say what you want, but dude, don't call no shit on Shandy's. And then we enjoyed some Shandy's one day. And I believe it was very, very hot, man. It was like July, I think, and we were in like an above ground pool. Did we talk about that recently?
No, but this is exactly what I envision when I want to drink a shandy.
Oh
I'm in
yeah,
a
dude.
pool,
It
but it's
was
not an in-ground. It's an above-ground pool.
no, dude. It was hot as shit.
So
I mean,
hot that
like,
when you touch the vinyl siding of the above-ground pool, it burns.
fuck it, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You can't like. There's all these.
Yeah.
You ever see the picture, dude? It's so
Their
laughable.
arms
Whenever
are
you,
resting on
yeah,
this.
they're just resting on top. Like, where the hell is that pool in the
Yeah.
upper Midwest?
No,
Because I guarantee you can't be within
I'm
unless you're
getting third-degree
inside it.
burns from that pool, bro.
Dude, the
No
reflection off
shot.
the outside of that bitch when you walk by. If you're cutting the grass around the side of that fucker, you're catching an extra tan from the glow off
Hey,
that vinyl.
bro, just screw going to a tanning bed. Just lay next to that
Oh,
son
dude.
bitch.
Yeah, dude, all these people that are out there like laying on their high-end lawn chairs around concrete pools, you're missing out. You need to be laying by the side of a fucking vinyl
Yeah,
pool,
you
bud.
do. Yeah, but you're gonna have to rotate. You're gonna have to turn. You're gonna have to get one
Like a
side and then turn, baby.
like a damn rotisserie chicken. It
Yeah.
would take literally half the time. People that are out there paying, listen, and I respect above ground pools, okay?
I
But
do. Yeah.
somewhere in a number of counties that I could name off the top of my head right now, most of them happen to unfortunately be underwater right now in Texas. But there's probably a very high population of above ground pools that are out in that area. You guys need to just start selling subscriptions,
Memberships.
memberships for people to come out and lay next to that bitch so that they can be just as brown as the paper sack that they put your fucking beers in, bud.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yes.
telling you.
Yes. That's so true.
So,
That's another thing to me that's very summer is the above ground swimming pool.
yes,
100%.
dude. And I don't, it is because when I think it's still
And
to the, maybe it's just
I
where we
want to
grew
be
up.
very clear that I am not shitting on above ground swimming pools.
No,
I love
not at
them
all. I
very
love them.
much. They're
I love them too. They are.
incredible.
They're incredible. Um, I'm not shitting on them at all. And honestly, man, when I think summer, I don't ever think of an in-ground pool.
No,
I only
never.
think of I think of a lake and an above-ground pool. And I don't
Yeah.
know if that's just what we were exposed to, but that's the two things I think of. And when I look at
Hmm.
both of them, honestly, the above-ground pool is more refreshing. And I don't know why. I've done a lot of lake
I don't
swimming.
know, man.
The river is obviously always going to be the coolest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But dude, there's nothing like a good day at an above ground. Good lord! And if you think the sandwiches hit hard when you're on the lake,
Oh,
fuck,
buddy.
take a dip in that above ground, bud.
Nothing like a way over chlorinated above ground
Oh,
swimming pool sandwich, brother.
bro, and of course, just the way that I'm built, my entire life, that most of the depth came to right here. You know,
Right,
I was just treading
right up
water
to
for
the
6 hours.
chin.
Yeah.
The buddy was dog paddling for his life with that sandwich in his left hand,
Yeah.
just
I was
swimming
like
in circles.
10 years old, and I was like right up to here, and then I was like a junior in high school, and it's right up to here. I was like, damn it, this sucks. But thank God for above ground pools because they weren't deeper than like 4.5 feet. You know
Yeah,
what I
at
mean?
least you could tippy toe around. You'd still be good.
Oh yeah. A lot of pros to that, but yeah, don't you can't hang over the side. So Walmart needs to update their pictures. But when I think of a shandy, back to that. When I think of a shandy, that's what we're doing. We're in an above ground pool. Maybe part of it's decked, but maybe not. Maybe you just got the ladder that's up on one side. I kind of like the deck around it though. It's pretty nice.
The dude, and listen again. I'm not shitting on an above ground pool
I'm
at
not at
all.
all.
There's nothing more country to me than a deck built around the pool. And I mean that in the nicest way ever because I would do it. I would
Oh yeah.
build a deck around my above ground pool, but there's nothing more like country to me.
Yeah. But dude, it just adds such a cool level of like there's just nothing that compares, dude. People
No.
to me that's more enjoyable and more to walking on a deck versus walking on concrete around
Oh,
it. First off,
so
as
much
we
better.
just mentioned before,
Your feet don't burn
you
as
can get I
much.
mean, not as bad, Not as bad. It also holds water
And
longer. It
that
doesn't
yeah, that
evaporate as
water
quick.
that wood soaks that water up, baby. It don't
That's
just
right.
evaporate.
And I don't want to be catching third degree burns when, second, third degree burns while I'm trying to go grab a shandy out of the old igloo across the way.
Mm,
Again, not ripping on above ground pools, but I would
no.
only assume that we're probably drinking out of an igloo.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And I'm not,
Oh yeah.
I know that we're like towing the line here, but I'm being honest. Okay.
Also, with an above ground pool, there's no listen. You have the in ground where you can run and jump and try to catch the football, right?
Yeah.
You run and jump into the pool, you try to catch it. You do that in an above ground pool, legend status. If you can run from
Mm.
outside of the pool and run and jump over the side and catch a football and land in without hitting any of your body part on the side of the pool, legend.
Yeah, bro. As I mentioned, okay.
Yeah. No, yeah,
So
you
I was
weren't doing
always right.
that.
No, 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 dude. I could barely
You were
see over the
throwing.
side. Like
You were throwing
if
the
I were
ball.
to if I were to run into the side of that pool, I would just burn right across here with the metal vinyl cap. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
But dude, I've been known to go up a ladder real quick though. If they're tossing it and I can catch it in stride, I'll run up that ladder and do me a little toss.
Yeah, catch a shin bone to the step real quick.
Also, one other thing I'm going to mention, it's not really summertime related, but I feel like I've been in a lot more above ground pools in the winter than I have in ground
Oh,
pools.
really?
Yeah, dude, I've never taken like an ice plunge in in an in-ground pool ever in my life, but I've been in a bunch of above ground pools when it was like 30 degrees outside.
No, not me.
And I, no,
No, I don't really swim at all when it's cold. I mean, obviously now, but even
oh, I
then,
mean, obviously it wasn't like I was sober or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
we were
even
doing it.
then.
But I don't find myself going into in-ground pools in the wintertime. It's
Actually,
pretty much
the
just above
the
ground.
only time I go into a pool and it's wintertime is if the pool is heated. That's the only time I ever did it.
Well,
That or hot tub. And still, listen, I never understood the appeal. I'm gonna be honest with everybody.
bro, if
Uh,
what on the hot
I,
tub thing?
I love a hot tub, but when it's freezing outside, I don't want a hot tub. I don't want it. I don't.
I I don't think I necessarily love a hot tub. I just love the fact that it has jets.
Well, yeah, that's nice. I mean, it was like
Yeah,
us. We had the jacuzzi for so long, right?
and very rarely heated it. I mean,
Th-
occasionally we would when it was cold as shit
When it was
outside.
when it was cold, yeah. But I would get out and I would just immediately regret getting in every
Oh
single
yeah,
time.
I agree. I agree with that.
And also,
Bro,
dude, that listen, I have so many horrible memories with that jacuzzi as opposed to my great memories because for the last 3 years that we had it, I cleaned that some bitch and we never filled it up.
oh,
I
well, I
cleaned it
did a
like
lot of
five or
cleaning.
six times and it never got filled up.
I did a lot of cleaning on it too, but obviously it was back in the prime when we were running it a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah, I just feel like, bro, get busy living or get busy dying. People should be jumping in above ground pools when it's,
I
below
agree.
freezing outside. Because we don't
I
live in a
agree.
place where like a pool will ever freeze, really, even if it is above ground.
And even if it does
Um,
freeze here, let's be honest, it's gonna be a really thin layer. You're gonna break through anyways.
yeah, just from the top of the white steps, you don't even have to have a deck on that bitch.
No. I don't even think you gotta jump off the steps. You could just jump over.
Hey, listen, if we're telling true stories, I'm gonna tell you the last time. I'm not gonna say the last time, but like one of the last most. In fact, we had shandies there, dude. Um, one of the last like real
No
good.
shot. No
Did you
shot.
do
There
you know
was
what
shandies
I'm about to
there.
tell you,
No, I don't know, but there's no shot that that randomly worked out like that.
bro? For my bachelor party, it was so freaking hot. Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
was July. All right, in East Texas. And we all decide that we're just gonna be like shooting skeet and drinking beer and whatever out in this desert area of East Texas. Not really a desert area. But dude, I'm not gonna lie, like 2 days in, we were like, we're gonna fucking die out here. We were like camping. It was bad. We're like, we're gonna die out here. So we go back to my buddy's house who lived real close, which is also weird. We go back to my buddy's house and he's got an above ground pool. And dude, I probably would say 4 hours, 4.5 hours with the we called it the rubber duck rodeo, bud. It was this big ass blow up rubber ducky, and we would try to ride it in this pool, and we were drinking shandies, we were drinking seltzers weren't really a thing then. Um, but a lot of wine coolers, Smirnoff Ices, things like
Oh,
that. Just like because we had kind of, I mean, we had drank like a pallet of beer at this point, and so
yeah.
we're just gonna hit the shandies. Very refreshing shandies, the rubber duck rodeo, and it is impossible. I think two of us maybe rode that fucking rubber duck. It was very hard, but it was a blast. It was a blast.
That does sound like
Honestly,
fun.
here's the thing. It was a I'm not kidding you. It was 107 degrees outside, okay, and humid as hell because it was East Texas, and the pool temperature 80, maybe
Bruh.
90. You know what I mean? Not great, but definitely way better. You know what
But
I'm saying?
about 8 degrees cooler, you
Dude,
know?
but it felt like you were just on ice, you know?
It
You
just,
would
dude,
just
those things just, they reflect so much that
dude, you
just
would
the
just
bottom of the pool, it would just like magnify the heat. It just,
oh bro, you slide off of that fake plastic decking
what,
just right onto the vinyl of that rubber ducky that
what,
hadn't been ridden in at least 15 minutes, so it was just
yeah.
like a frying pan.
What you're really hoping for in an above ground pool in that situation is that when you get out, a breeze hits.
Oh, yeah. And
That's what you're really hoping for.
I want to say later on we got in the hot there was a hot tub that was like, obviously a
And
regular
it
hot
was
tub.
cooler.
We got it was because it didn't have the heat on. It was just running the jets. But they had,
Uh,
dude, also nothing classes up one last thing, and I really, really enjoyed it. Okay. We had a blast, and I
uh,
really did like this pool. But nothing sets off an above ground pool like that one little pond sprinkler to aerate it. You
oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
had a blast. Okay, so I changed my mind, not just because of today, but shandies aren't for pansies. I think shandies are just for people that want to be refreshed and that they just want to
Yeah.
enjoy themselves. Also, it's a good change of pace. We always talk
It
about
is.
like everybody has their favorite beers. Yeah, I could drink Miller Lite every day. I could drink Busch Light every day. I could drink Shiner Bock every day. But it's a good seasonal change, man. It refreshes the palate. It's the sniff of coffee when you've had all the perfume fumes up in the nog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. It's a palate refresher.
It
It's a
is. It
reset.
really is. It really is. It's refreshing. Um, it's a good change of pace. It kind of gets you back on the horse a little bit, you know?
Yeah, it does.
It does. All right, we need to get into the WWYBDs here.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and go first since mine hasn't changed since the beginning. This is 100% a golf beer for me.
Oh, okay.
Specifically with a golf cart. I'm not walking with this one.
Mm.
But I'm riding around in a golf cart, and I'm not like this with every shandy, but every now and then, I can see myself with the shandy in that situation. But this specifically because the can, for whatever reason, I don't know if we showed it off very much, but the can, for whatever reason, kind of screams golf to me.
It does. Well, and are you tying it back to the whole Lucky 19 and Sam
No,
Houston?
actually, I'm not. It was just the color choices that they went with. I think they
Yeah,
got me, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, Lucky 19 is kind of golf related. That's funny."
it is, and it's also You're right. It does have like a classy clubhouse vibe to it.
Yeah,
Like what are those like a Rowback would put out something that has this color
right.
scheme.
I
You know what
do.
I mean?
I do want to be clear. I'm not buying this from the cart girls. I'm bringing
Oh, you're
this.
heisting it in? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Still shady with it.
Oh
Back in
yeah.
my day, it was Keystone Lights or
Made.
something,
Hey,
but no,
hey, hey. It's made in the shade, baby.
that's
It's
nice.
made
You
in
know
the
what?
shade.
Two things. I could definitely see myself drinking it while I was playing golf, but I just realized that I don't necessarily associate golf with the summer. To me, that's a spring thing or a fall
Mm.
thing.
To me, it's spring and fall. I mean, spring and summer.
I gotcha. I'm sure that there's somebody up in the old upper Midwest going, fuck you in the fall. We can't play golf here. But anyway, no, that's a solid one. I just didn't associate golf with, I see everything that you said makes sense, but I didn't associate golf with the summer and therefore Shandy with not. So
Yeah.
for me, it is a and again, this is kind of maybe close to home, but I can definitely see myself doing this. This is a ride out a hurricane when the Margs gave up kind of beer,
Okay.
bro. It's hurricane season, so it's still hot, it's still sticky, it's still nasty. You know that later in the summer, knock on wood, we can hold out that long. And you've given up on Margs. You've already drank all the Still Reserve that you panicked bought a pallet of, and so Lucky 19 is to the rescue. And this is something that I would love during that hurricane
Yeah.
season, whether we're under siege or not.
It's one of those
Sure.
situations where, because my dad used to put us out there picking up all the branches in the middle of a hurricane while it's going
Yeah.
on. It's one of those things where, obviously not back then, but now if we had to go do that, you're cracking one of these and going and picking up some branches.
Yeah, because it's gonna make everything feel a little bit like it's fun and like it's a party.
Yeah, just a
Maybe
little
not
bit.
collecting branches. I think we've done our share, but yeah, but it could be this closest we're ever gonna get.
Yeah,
It's the closest we're ever gonna get to taking a chore such as collecting branches and cutting trees into riding a rubber ducky inside of an above ground pool. So
got to make the best of what you got, man. Make the best of
you
what you
do.
got. All right, well,
And
let's
on
get in.
rating,
Yeah, let's get
I
into the
feel like
ratings. You want to? Do you
we're
want
gonna
to?
be. I will go first. We're gonna be drastically different.
Okay.
I'm gonna start off with this. It's not a fridge sitter. I did
Yeah.
enjoy it. Okay. It's not a fridge sitter. I did enjoy it. I will recommend it. However, I think it is a very, very, very light shandy.
Yeah.
I get more of like a approachable sour. It's not a sour, but approachable sour. Like it is a very passive shandy. And in fact, had they not written shady on, well, had they not written shandy on the can, I would have just taken it for lemon beer or lemon ale or lemon whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's somewhat reflected in my score, although I did enjoy this and I will buy it again and I will tell people about it. But compared to a shandy, the staple of shandy, that's, there's the reason there's a scale. So entry, I have a 3. Aftertaste, I have a 3. It's solid. It's there. It's drinkable. It's good. Body, I have a 2. Seemed a little thin to me. Seemed like it was missing something. It's kind of like when you make a pot of beans and you eat it and you're like, damn, dude, a tablespoon of salt would have really set that off. That's the
Yeah.
vibe I'm getting on body. Color, I've got a 3. I mean, possibly could have been a 4. I mean, just because of the haziness of it, which is a good thing. I think that's what you want in a shandy. But I kept it kind of par for the course. Bitterness and acidity, I have a 2. I wanted more bitterness. I wanted more acidity. I didn't get either of those. I again, it was very, very passive. Um, and so it wasn't a situation where I was like, oh shit, that's not the bitterness I want, or that's not the acidity I want. I think they could have ramped it up a little bit. And then fizz, I have a 3. If I was gonna go back and change scores, which I don't do, I could possibly put that at a 4. But I set them when I set them. So my total score is only an 18. Okay, but easily could be a 20 with fizz and with color. But yeah, total score is an 18. But dude, still rock solid. Like I'll buy it again. I know that for
Yeah.
sure. But not when I'm in the mood for a shandy. Just when I'm in the mood for something that's gonna
For
change the
this,
pace.
essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We're actually not super far off.
Okay.
For entry and aftertaste, I also have 3 for each of those. I think it's good enough, right? It's good enough. Body, I have a 3 for body. Um, I think it's kind of like you said. It's just like not enough of the lemon, maybe.
Mm.
The flavor is a little bit less than what you expect. Color, I had it a 4. I thought it was pretty solid. It's very, it's a craft shandy. It's a little cloudier than a you know commercialized shandy, for example, but
Yeah.
it's crafty, so that's to be expected. Now bitterness, I do have a 4. I think what's throwing, I mean, I'm not gonna try to convince you or anything, but I think what might be throwing you off is that I think it's there with the bitterness, but I think it's not fizzy enough for that
That's a
for
good
that to
point.
make sense. You know what I mean?
A little more effervescent would trick my palate into absorbing more of the bitterness. I feel
Yeah,
you.
I think so. But it's still not as bitter as I would want it to be. Having saying that,
Okay.
acidity, I have a 3 again. A lot of that I think is because the smell is so lemon rich. I really wanted it to be
Yeah.
super acidic, and I kind of want that out of a shandy. I want it to
Okay.
kind of hit a little hard, you
I,
know?
I agree, and that's why my bitterness and my acidity were low. But one thing I want to say is I've also had the opposite too, where you drink a shandy and you're like, is that just fucking lemon juice? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want
No, no,
that at
no.
all.
Yeah, you don't
But
want too much.
this is kind of like way far in one direction, and then there's the ones that are just straight lemon juice. You don't want to be in
Hmm.
that direction either. There's a fair ground that they could be in that I think they could come to. But
Yeah, agreed. And then fizz, I have a 3 as well. Now, I did have some good
yeah,
burps throughout this one. Um, and I have no complaints with that. There were quite a few. They were nice. But again, I just want a little bit more oomph from a shandy, you know.
yeah.
I want a little bit more of a kick whenever it hits my tongue and when I swallow, you know.
Hmm.
So that brings my total to a 23. But again, agree on all fronts of it's delicious. This is one of the quickest I've ever drank both of them.
Oh, nice.
I probably finished this. I probably finished my second beer at minute 45 of this episode. Uh,
The second one?
yeah, I was done with the second one at
Really?
like minute 45.
Wow.
Incredibly drinkable, really smooth, great taste. Just not necessarily what I expect from a shandy.
Yep.
Will buy
I
again.
agree.
Not a fridge sitter
Yep.
by any means. Will recommend to people to try for sure. All right, well, that brings us to the point in the podcast where I'm going to tell you to go follow us on social media on Twitter and TikTok at Off the Tap Pod, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Off the Tap Podcast.
When life, no, everyone talks about when life gives you lemons. Instead of lemonade, I say we zest those bitches and get creative.